So, as for point to note it that the three adversaries and the same frontier which the Indian military might has able to take on, right and proper, and they have to kneel down, they have to beg, to stop it. And India has done it, in style, and Indian military has done it and shown its prowess the way it has carried out. We were also surprised, being, I have got 40 years of military service. See, when you only do not see in a combat, but this is the first time, if you see in the history of India and Pakistan and China, since we have got the independence, this type of hands in glove, three countries joining against you, and you absolutely come out victorious in that, where the adversary has to kneel down and beg for, ceasefire. That is very important. 81% odd weapon and equipment which is coming from China, and testing it in the combat condition. He has brought it out. And in this, whether it was, their complete aerial system, there is a weapon equipment like radars and all those things, missiles. More or less everything has come out to be a failure. I do not know the validations will be carried out, especially of the air power in J-10 and J-20 series of, he had used it, those. And that validations Indian military must be carrying it out, especially the Air Force. They will come to know how they have performed on ground and how we are able to infiltrate through. Because this battle was 4 days, very intense. We were cautious on the first day, but last 2 days it was all out where in our favor. We had the supremacy of air. We were able to destroy. We have penetrated their complete air defenses and hit them so hard. Not only the terrorist target, the military infrastructure. That, I think, setback which China will actually licking down. The Pakistan must be licking down. And the Turkey, which provided the, drone, basically TV2 drone, but they are and trained operator.
Right.
That is something the world has seen. And that's why the world has become more sobering after this Operation Sindoor 4 days intense fighting.
All right, sir. Major General Sinha, thank you so much for joining us with your insights and your thoughts on that big development that we're tracking today on 6 Stories at 6. Viewers, now we shift our focus to the other big story. Now, we understood how India prevailed over the three adversaries. That includes Pakistan, that was on the forefront, of course. And now this is the debate over Pakistan's participation in Asia Cup 2025 hockey tournament that is set to take place in India, in Bihar. And the sports governing body, Hockey India, has said that no call has been taken yet. They don't have any confirmation yet from the ministries, from the centre, about the Pakistani team's participation yet. In fact, the federation also adds that there has been no communication from the relevant government authorities on the matter, and they are okay going ahead without Pakistan being present in the qualifying tournament. Listen into what Deputy Turkey, the president of the Hockey India, has said.
अब तक हमारे पास हॉकी इंडिया के पास मिनिस्ट्री की ओर से, गवर्नमेंट की ओर से ऑफिशियली कम्युनिकेशन कुछ आया नहीं है, अब तक मिला नहीं है. आप लोगों के जरिए, मीडिया के जरिए हमें सुनने को मिल रहा है.
सो मिस्टर तिर्की, क्या आप हॉकी फेडरेशन क्या मिनिस्ट्री से ये क्वेश्चन उठाएगा कि क्यों अलाउ किया जा रहा है पाकिस्तानी टीम को, और वो भी जो पहलगाम टेरर अटैक के बाद जब हमने सारे टाइज अभी बंद कर दिए हैं, तो क्या ये क्वेश्चन नहीं उठ रहा है? क्योंकि ये लोगों के बीच में भी यही सेंटिमेंट्स है कि क्यों अलाउ किया जा रहा है इस टाइम पे.
हॉकी इंडिया हमेशा हम ये कहते आ रहे हैं कि गवर्नमेंट के डिसीजन जैसा कहेंगे, जैसा आप ऑर्डर देंगे, उसी के मुताबिक हम चलेंगे. आज भी हमारे स्टैंड वही रहे. जिस हिसाब से गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया हमें डायरेक्शन देंगे, उसी से हम चलेंगे.
पहले तो जो भी था वो भारत सरकार पर ही हम लोग, तो जो भारत सरकार का डिसीजन होगा, जो भारत सरकार इस पर निर्णय लेगा, हम लोग पूरी तरह से उनके निर्णय पर थे कि जो भी भारत सरकार का निर्णय होगा वो हॉकी इंडिया फॉलो करेगा. हमको चैनल के माध्यम से ही मालूम चला है कि पाकिस्तान टीम को एशिया कप के लिए और जूनियर वर्ल्ड कप के लिए मेरे ख्याल से भारत सरकार परमिशन दे दिया है आने के लिए. तो इसके लिए हम लोग तैयार हैं.
तैयारी कैसे चल रही है? ऑफ कोर्स जो पॉलिटिकल टेंशन है, जो बायलैटरल टेंशन है दोनों देशों के बीच, उससे ये प्लेयर्स का कैसा इम्पैक्ट पड़ता है? आप इसके बारे में कुछ बताइए।
देखिए, जब दो कंट्री में आपस में अगर बहुत ये होता है ना, तो मेरे ख्याल से खिलाड़ी ही ऐसे होते हैं जो दोनों कंट्री का जो माहौल है वो थोड़ा ठीक करते हैं।
And senior sports journalist Devashish Datta joins us on the broadcast. Mr. Datta, well, this is a raging debate that is going on right now. It's been just 2 months to the Pahalgam terror attack. There has been a history with Pakistan when it comes to terror attacks, and we've engaged with Pakistan time and again on multinational events. But this time, India is saying no, and India has, carried out the biggest ever operation against Pakistan. It's unprecedented. And now, welcoming Pakistani team on Indian soil, sir, is something that is not going down well with the Indians. The Hockey Federation, the Hockey India is just passing the buck right now. There's no official word from centre. How do you see this, sir, and what are your thoughts on this?
Let me use one cricketing phrase. It's very simple that, it was almost a bouncer which was just knocking down our head. And bolt from the blue, we are all surprised, not pleasantly surprised, but we are shocked with the decision. I would like to know who are the persons behind taking these decisions. I would like to know, because are we to believe that government is backing this decision? The ice has not melted, and we should not allow Pakistan in any sports, wherever they are coming. Like Asia Cup cricket is also coming, and there is a debate whether it would be held in Pakistan or in Dubai or in Sri Lanka. We should not play against them. This is my stance.
And, we don't understand that why time and again India has welcomed Pakistan. We did that in 2023 as well. Nothing has changed with Pakistan. There are people who talk about cricket diplomacy. They talk about sports diplomacy. But what will happen if India, why can't the Pakistan hockey team, be stopped? What is really, hesitating, what is making India so cautious about it? What are the sports authorities thinking? What is really going on in your understanding?
We would become a laughing stock in all over the world when they would come to know that India is ready to welcome Pakistan, any team, whether it is football, hockey, cricket, Kho-Kho, Kabaddi, anything. We should not play against them. As simple as that. Right, sir.
Thank you so much, Mr. Devashish Datta, for joining us with your very straightforward thoughts on the show, on this story, 6 Stories at 6. We will shift our focus to the other big story that we're tracking here. Nearly 3 weeks after a British F-35B stealth fighter made an emergency landing at Thiruvananthapuram airport, the high-tech jet is said to be airlifted by none other than a C-17 Globemaster. Now, it's an unusual move for a jet of this class, but the grounded warbird has left the British Royal Navy with just few options. Watch this.
After being stranded in Kerala for over 19 days, the British F-35B will now be partially dismantled and flown back aboard a Royal Air Force C-17 Globemaster. A dramatic solution for one of the world's most advanced combat aircraft grounded far from home. The F-35B, a fifth-generation stealth fighter with a short takeoff and vertical landing capability, has been parked on Indian soil since 15th of June, grounded by weather and later by technical failure.
The cargo bay of the so-called the C-17 is definitely, the dimension of it will not allow this particular jet, the F-35, to in fact be fully fitted without taking out its wings. In fact, the C-17's cargo bay, it measures around 26.8 meters into 5.5 meters into 3.76 meters. Now, this particular cargo bay is designed to actually take around 120 paratroopers and small scale machineries like vehicles and all that. But to fit an F-35 like this, which has a wingspan wingspan of around 35 feet, and also which has a dimension which is around the tail height of around 4.6 meter. This 4.6 meter tail height is a problem, and that is where that if the authority, the Lockheed Martin engineers who will be heading this operations, essentially, they will have to remove this particular tailhead in order for the flight to be taken on a C-17. In fact, there could be other options also. I mean, there are bigger aircraft which could be brought in to take it without cutting off its wings. Essentially, the issue, what you see, this flight over here, which is lying here, today is day 20. In fact, June 14th night it landed in the dead of the night, and it still remains over here. It's languishing here. It has been grounded. As per the defense treaties that has been signed, international defense treaties that has been signed, a plane, this plane where the location of this plane, where this plane is right now, it is considered as a country. So essentially, there cannot be any Indian who's supposed to even go there. So that is a rule which India also abides by. And this particular aircraft, which landed over here due to a technical failure, mostly been stated as a hydraulic failure. What we understand is that for 20 days, the crew members have not been able to identify what the exact problem is. And also, tomorrow they are likely to come. A bigger crew member, around 30 members, are supposed to come in a special military aircraft over here in Thiruvananthapuram, in this very bay.
The jet made an emergency diversion during an Indo-UK naval drill, unable to return to the HMS Prince of Wales due to bad weather and low fuel. A team of British engineers was flown in to assess the damage, but efforts to get the jet airborne again failed. Now, in an extraordinary move, the UK plans to fly the fighter back aboard a C-17 Globemaster, one of the few aircraft capable of carrying such a payload. The Indian Air Force and airport authorities are coordinating logistics, moving the F-35 into a secure hangar before the massive liftoff operation. The F-35 program is the most expensive weapons initiative in military history. Deployed from Syria to the South China Sea, its missions are often secret. But this one, grounded in Kerala, has become its most public chapter yet.
In a shocking case from Mumbai, 7 members of Raj Thakrae's Maharashtra Navnirman Sena, the MNS, has been accused of brutally assaulting a Mumbai shopkeeper for not speaking Marathi. Now, they were released just shortly after being detained, viewers, triggering widespread outrage and questions over political impunity. The incident took place late Sunday, viewers. We're talking about this today. And now there has been a political reaction that have come in on that. There have been a war of words that in fact has entailed. In the latest, we have the Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis assuring strictest action on that. Listen in.
देखिए, मीरा रोड की घटना के तुरंत बाद एफआईआर भी दाखिल हुई है। इस प्रकार से कोई भाषा के आधार पर गुंडागर्दी करेंगे तो हमारी सरकार उनको छोड़ेगी नहीं, उनके ऊपर कार्रवाई करेगी। मैं वापस कह रहा हूं, स्वभाषा का अभिमान होना चाहिए, मातृभाषा का अभिमान होना चाहिए, पर उसको आगे करके अगर कोई गुंडागर्दी करेगा तो सहन नहीं किया जाएगा।
कल जो मीरा रोड ने कुछ दिनों पहले जिन्होंने वो 6-7 लोगों ने जिस तरह जिन्होंने हाथ उठाया, उनको पुलिस ने गिरफ्तार कर चुकी है, कड़ी से कड़ी कलम लगा चुकी है और उनके ऊपर जो एक्शन लेना है वो शुरू हो चुका है। आप इस बारे में बिल्कुल चिंता मत कीजिए। मैं उनको आश्वस्त करता हूं, ये सरकार ये पूरी तरीके से उनके साथ में है। इनके स्टेज पे आने वाले जावेद अख्तर भी क्या बहुत शुद्ध मराठी बात करते हैं क्या? नल बाजार और मोहम्मद अली रोड में क्या मराठी बात करते हैं क्या? शुद्ध मराठी बात करते हैं क्या? है क्या इनको हिम्मत? जाके बोलो मदरसा में, जाके बोलो मस्जिदों में कि आप तुम्हारा आजान ये मराठी में होना चाहिए। है इतना हिम्मत? आगे देखिए होता है क्या। आप थोड़ा विश्वास हमारे सरकार के ऊपर रखिए। कल 2 दिन से हम सभी एक्शन मोड पे चले गए। हमारे मुख्यमंत्री जी हर चीज पे कड़ी नजर रखते हुए इनको करारा जवाब मिलेगा। इतना आपके चैनल के माध्यम से उनको बोल रहा हूं।
Now, we was in a significant crackdown on illegal arms. Security forces in Manipur have recovered a massive cache of weapons, ammunition and explosives during extensive search operations carried out from the midnight of July 3rd to the morning of 4th of July across the hill districts. Now, acting on specific intel inputs, joint teams comprising Manipur Police, Assam Rifles, the Indian Army and the CAPF launched coordinated operations at multiple locations in Tegnopal, Kangpokpi and Chandel and Churachandpur districts as well. Operations targeted suspected areas where warlike stores were also believed to be concealed. My colleague Johnson is joining us live on the broadcast from the state. Johnson, tell us more details about this mega operation, because warlike stores have also been concealed here and it's a huge cache of arms.
Yes, Rakshita, today in a major development in Manipur, the security arrangement and the security forces, combined security forces of Manipur Police, Central Forces and Assam Rifle Armies, in the intervening midnight of 13 and the 4th, in the intervening midnight of the 3rd and 4th of July, today itself, the combined security forces launched a huge operation in the hill districts, namely, as we mentioned, in Tegnopal, Kangpokpi, Chandel, and Churachandpur. In that major operation, major arms, in total numbering of 203 arms and ammunition of total of 160 MOs of different arms have been recovered by the combined security forces. It can be mentioned that in the previous month, in the intervening midnight of June 14. There has also been a recovery of mass arms. The exact numbering of about 300 more arms from the Beri district also. It is a very clear step for the security forces and the present government to bring up peace and normalcy in this state also.
Right, Johnson, thank you so much for joining us with the details from Imphal. Now, India's stance on the Dalai Lama succession has sparked a significant debate, with Union Minister Kiren Rijiju asserting that the Tibetan spiritual leader alone holds the authority to determine his successor. Now, this move marks a clear rejection of China's claim to approve the reincarnation process. Now, Indian government has made it clear that the Dalai Lama's succession is a spiritual matter, not a political one, and that only the Dalai Lama himself can decide his reincarnation. Stance supported by the Gaiden Phodrang Trust that was founded by the Dalai Lama office in 2015, that has the authority to recognize the future reincarnation. Now, China has said that India should not interfere, and it insists that any future heir must receive Beijing's seal of approval. Beijing's 2007 Order Number 5 mandates that reincarnations of Tibetan lamas must be approved by the Chinese government, and a move widely criticized by human rights groups. Not just that, China in the latest viewers has also said that it has threatened that this will jeopardize India and China ties as well. Right, with that, it's time to take a quick break, viewers. That's all we could pack in this edition of 6 Stories at 6. Thanks for watching.
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सबको मजेदार बने।
इसको घर पे लगाओगे तो शादी का तो पता नहीं, और घर पक्का नहीं टूटेगा।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
पहाड़ों में एक हाइकिंग स्टिक भी बन सकती है।
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल, ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े, क्या निराला MDH मसाला।
Future wars will be conducted based upon intelligence input gathered from enemy's territory. Suppose there is a war with Pakistan or China or even Indian Ocean region, then we have to know what exactly Pakistan is doing in depth, what they are doing towards their military assets, which are closer to Afghanistan border, closer to Iran border. Similarly, in Tibet, in case there is a skirmish with China, we would like to know what is PLA doing in Tibet, or even in depth in China. Similarly, in case there is a war, Pakistan Navy or PLA Navy may operate from Indian Ocean region to cause damage to our coastal installations, both military as well as civilian. So we would like to know well in advance what they are up to. These kind of intelligence gathering activities were on earlier also, but they were not very organized on military scale. You see, earlier we had some satellites which ISRO had launched. We had cartograph series of satellites. We had reset set of satellites which were rather, radar imaging satellites. The resolution was not very good, and we had GSAT, we had INSAT, but their orbiting time was very long. That means they will pass over an enemy target area, say after 4 hours, after 8 hours, because they were in polar orbit. So now a need was felt by Indian defense community that we should have a series of satellites which should have 2-3 special requirements. One is they must pass over target areas in depth. That means they must pass over mainland China. They must.
दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर, माँ की मुस्कुराहट और खाने की सुगंध। MDH गरम मसाला,
क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार। MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला।
I don't know. I think we'll have to take a look. We might have to put Doge on Elon. You know what Doge is? Doge is the monster that might have to go back and eat Elon. Wouldn't that be terrible? He gets a lot of subsidies, Peter.
His rocket company is the only reason we can now send America astronauts into space. Take over, Elon. Just
But Elon's very upset that the EV mandate is going to be terminated. And you know what? When you look at it, not everybody wants an electric car. I don't want an electric car. I want to have maybe gasoline, maybe electric, maybe a hybrid, maybe someday a hydrogen. If you have a hydrogen car, it has one problem. It blows up, So I'm going to give that one to Peter. I'm going to let Peter test it out.
This is not the end of Doge, but really the beginning. My time as a special government employee necessarily had to end. It was a limited time thing. It's 134 days, I believe, which ends in a few days. So that it comes with a time limit. But the Doge team will only grow stronger over time. The Doge influence will only grow stronger. I'd liken it to sort of Buddhism. It's like a way of life. So it is permeating throughout the government. And I'm confident that over time we will see $1 trillion of savings and a reduction in $1 trillion of waste and fraud reduction.
After many years of decline in our air traffic control system, the One Big Beautiful Bill will modernize this decrepit relic and give America the best, most advanced air traffic control system on earth, the best by.
After 25 days, fire reignited on board a One High 503, the burning ship currently outside India's economic zone. Sports Ministry sources to Republic said that Pakistan hockey team is yet to apply for a visa to India.
Few lessons that I thought I must flag as far as Operation Sindoor is concerned. Firstly, one border, two adversaries. So we saw Pakistan one side, but adversaries were two, and if I would say actually four or three actually.
Big revelation by Deputy Chief of Army Staff on Operation Sindoor as he puts out the Turkey-Pakistan-China Nexus out in the open.
पूरे विश्व में जितने बौद्ध धर्म मानने वाले लोग हैं और जो परम पावन दलाई लामा जी को जो मानते हैं, वो सबका इच्छा है कि दलाई लामा जी अपना तय करेंगे.
Union Minister Rijiju backs the Dalai Lama's sole right to choose his successor, says no need to speak on this, and that China has no role to play in that. China, meanwhile, warns that it will spoil ties with India. Actor Vijay is TVK's official Chief Minister candidate for Tamil Nadu polls. Right, we start with breaking news coming in right now. This is a reaction coming in from the Indian Army. Army Design Bureau's ADG, Major General CS Man, has said, and I quote, "No Chinese parts will be used in any military components. We are keeping stringent checks and protocols to eliminate vulnerabilities, especially in the drone system." So, India, of course, has once again reiterated its strong stand against China, and also it said that no Chinese part will be used in military component. Remember, this comes right after Lieutenant General Rahul Singh's statement that how 80% of Pakistani military components belong to China, are made in China. And Army now says that it will never use any Chinese component for its own arsenal. So no Chinese part to be used in military component. Let's take a listen in, viewers, to the reaction.
जहाँ तक चाइनीज ड्रोन का सवाल है, आपको पता होगा मैंने लास्ट ईयर सितंबर में भी बताया था कि हम एक फ्रेमवर्क बना रहे हैं. वो फ्रेमवर्क हमारा बन गया है, वो अंडर अप्रूवल है. जब वो अप्रूव होएगा तो उसके हिसाब से टेस्टिंग करी जाएगी, जिससे कि ताकि हमारे कोई भी ड्रोन्स के अंदर सिक्योरिटी वल्नरेबिलिटीज ना हो, उनका ख्याल किया जाएगा. इंडस्ट्री इज वेरी मच गेटिंग इट. फाइनली इट इज द इंडस्ट्री हु हैज टू डू दैट द बल्क प्रोडक्शन. इनफैक्ट एज ऑफ टुडे लाइक वी हैव आवर वेरियस प्रोजेक्ट्स गोइंग ऑन with the academia, wherein there are those startups involved along with them. So it's already right from the beginning in the R&D part of it, and then of course the D&D part of it, they are very much involved in it. Wherever it's only academia, then through the academic institute only, they're going to be transferring the technology to the industry. Like we already have an MOU with the Foundation of Innovation and Technology Transfer in IIT Delhi, wherein our technologies, we are getting them actually productionized through the industry by carrying out the transfer of technology to the private industry.
So viewers, this comes after the Indian Army confirms that China leveraged the recent India-Pakistan conflict as a live laboratory to test its military hardware and technological capabilities. Speaking at the New Age Military Technologies event organized by FICCI, Lieutenant General Rahul Singh, Deputy Chief of Army Staff on Capability Development and Sustenance, highlighted the extent of Chinese involvement, saying that over 80% of Pakistan's military equipment is of Chinese origin and that China provided real-time support, including sharing sensitive operational data to Pakistan. The acknowledgement points to this evolving security paradigm, viewers, where India faces not just a two-front challenge, but a coordinated troika involving Pakistan, China, and increasingly other regional actors like Turkey. The development has renewed the calls for a more robust and future-ready air defense system.
Few lessons that I thought I must flag as far as Operation Sindoor is concerned. Firstly, one border, two adversaries. So we saw Pakistan one side, but adversaries were two, and if I would say actually four or three actually. So Pakistan was the front face. We had China providing all possible support, and it's no surprise because if you were to look at statistics, in the last 5 years, 81% of the military hardware that Pakistan is getting is all Chinese, 81% of that. So it's no surprise. And China, of course, the good old dictum, killed by a borrowed knife, 36 stratagems that China talks about, killed by a borrowed knife. So he would rather use the neighbor to cause pain than getting involved in the mud slinging match on the northern border. So that is what he's seen. And another thing that China perhaps has seen is that he's able to test his weapons against, say, various other weapon systems that are there. It's like a live lab which is available to him. So it's a good, that is what is something we have to be very, very cognizant about. Again, Turkey also played a very important role in providing the type of support that was there. Bayraktar, of course, he's been giving from before. We saw numerous other drones also coming in, landing in the face of war, during the war, along with trained sort of individuals who were there. When the DGMO level talks were going on, Pakistan actually was mentioning that we know that your such and such important sort of vector is primed and it is ready for action. I would request you to perhaps, pull it back. So he was getting live inputs as far as from China. So that is one place we really need to move fast and take appropriate action. Pakistani side decided that no, they wanted to sort of come equal. They engaged our military targets. So in step 2 of the escalation, a very strong message was sent by engaging their military targets in a manner that on 10th of May, there was a message from the military operations, Pakistan, that they would want a ceasefire to ensure that we end the conflict on top of the escalation ladder. And thereafter, of course, it is all about information warfare, how the narrative shape out. That's another domain that could be discussed. And the reason why this particular thing happened, because there was a punch that was ready, and they realized that hidden punch, in case that comes through, Pakistan would be in a very, very bad condition. So that was the reason why they asked for a ceasefire.
Viewers, with that, we take a quick look at some more stories from across the country. This is Bharat in 1 minute.
Bharat 1 Minute brought to you by Canara Bank. Together, we can.
On Sri Amarnath Yatra preparations, SSP Sandeep Mehta says that Kishtwar district has made solid preparations on the Kishtwar-Badod route. 4 checkpoints have been set up on the NH244 with the main checkpoint at Baggar. He said that when the Amarnath Yatra crosses this point, the police party ensures that no unscrupulous elements pass through. A man in Bengaluru attempted to set a house on fire over an alleged financial dispute. CCTV footage captured the accused, identified as Subramani, pouring petrol on the house and then setting it ablaze. The house belongs to Venkataramani and her son Satish. Neighbours noticed the fire and managed to extinguish it, preventing casualties. The incident is linked to 7 to 8-year-old 5 lakh loan that was taken and never paid off. FIR has been filed. Vehicles struggled to cross a severely waterlogged road in Tharad following heavy rain. IMD has issued an orange alert in Banaskantha district of Gujarat due to very heavy rain, thunderstorms, lightning and scores being on the forecast. Now, Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma has announced the signing of Memorandum of Understanding to define boundaries between Assam and Meghalaya. Now, in a post on social media X, the Chief Minister has written that the signed MOU would help people and administration have some clarity on the jurisdiction and would allow governance to shine in the once grey areas. So this is the latest tweet. I think this is a post by the Assam Chief Minister about this. This is a Republic TV exclusive input on the boundary line, and historic MOUs are to be signed. Viewers, we will get you more updates on that. Assam Meghalaya to sign MOU on the interstate boundary. We have Preston Tiansong, Deputy Chief Minister of Meghalaya, joining us. Mr. Tiansong, this is a big development announced by the Chief Minister of Assam himself, sir, about the MOUs, sir. How do you see this development?
Yes, I think this is a good news, and we really created a record once again from both the state government. And I would like to place it on record that both the chief ministers from Assam and from Meghalaya, they already signed the MOU to reach out to the permanent solution of the long pending issue, and that is called this interstate dispute that has been hanging for so many years. But today, let me tell you one thing: out of the 6 area of differences, 3 of them now the final demarcation and even the erection of a permanent pillar who can really make sure that the boundary dispute is totally resolved. And I would like to inform you that now the survey and also the erection of the permanent pillar is still on in both sides of the state.
Right, Mr. Preston Tensong. We also want to understand what sort of issues are in focus that will be now resolved thanks to these historic MOUs being signed, sir.
I would like to, first of all, place it on record again our gratitude to the Honorable Chief Minister of Assam, Dr. Himanta Biswa Sarma, under his dynamic leadership. Ultimately, both the chief reached to the point where they would like to resolve these pending issues, which was lying for not less than 50 years now. So now, as I said to you, the first phase of the joint inspection was completed last year itself, last year itself, and now in those 6 area of differences, and now one of these area, the permanent erection of pillars is started, and their work also is on.
And sir, from when will the changes be put in place? When will it see the implementation on ground?
No, now the work is on.
Okay.
That's what I'm telling you. We do have 3 places right now where the pillar erection has started. One is, we call it Tarabari area. Then number 2 is, we call it Gizang area. And the third one is Ahim area. These 3 areas falls under West Khasi Hills district, and the construction of a permanent boundary pillar is on.
Yes, sir. So also this would also help the entire region, isn't it? If you could help us understand the impact on the peace that it would entail, among the other northeastern states as well, sir, with the implementation.
Yes, I think this is, the historic moment for Meghalaya and Assam, and it will also be a good news to all our neighboring states among ourselves. And I'm very sure we will be able to resolve it one by one. And as I said to you, the credit goes to the Honorable Chief Minister of Assam and also the Honorable Chief Minister of Meghalaya, who has taken this bold initiative to make sure that the solution to the long pending issue is resolved.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Preston Tensong, for joining us on Republic TV with your first reaction here. All right, viewers, we have some breaking news coming in right now. This is regarding the India-US trade deal that's in the works. The Piyush Goyal has spoken out on the trade deal with US and India, between the US and India. Now, he's talked about the 9th July deadline, and he said that India's talks are on its own conditions. India will talk on its own conditions with countries. FTA agreement is done when both parties benefited. India never does any trade deal based on any deadline So he has set the record straight. He says when the deal is good, that India will not come under pressure. That's what Piyush Goyal has said. In fact, we also know that India's negotiation team has also returned from the US, and that we will only do a deal if it suits, if it's good. India's interest is paramount. That is what Piyush Goyal has said very, very clearly. And we have more update coming in on that. Just take a listen in first to what Mr. Goyal said.
मैं आपको कई बार बताया कि भारत अपने शर्तों पर चर्चा करता है, अलग अलग देशों के साथ चर्चा चल रही है, यूरोपियन यूनियन हो, न्यूजीलैंड हो, ओमान हो, यूएसए हो, चिली हो, पेरू हो, कई देशों के साथ एग्रीमेंट की बात चल रही है। फ्री ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट तभी संभव होता है जब दो तरफा फायदा हो, इट शुड बी अ विन विन एग्रीमेंट, और जब भारत के इंटरेस्ट को सुरक्षित रखते हुए नेशनल इंटरेस्ट विल ऑलवेज बी सुप्रीम।
And with regards to that, viewers, we have some more breaking news. Indian delegation has returned from the United States, and trade negotiators are in the national capital. We're getting in more inside scoop on the Indo-US trade talks. One thing is clear, that India will not work for deadlines. They only work for national interest. Whatever fits the cause of India, whatever suits India, whatever is the best for India, that deal will be signed. Nothing under pressure. And in fact, we have more updates coming in. Indian delegation, as I just said, the stalemate also continues. As per our sources, there is a stalemate on the agriculture front, on auto, on steel and aluminium sectors. This was a team led by Rajesh Agrawal, the Special Secretary in Commerce Ministry. And there's a stalemate also that's been reported by our sources on several fronts. Remember, there have been a lot of talks about the tariffs and how United States and India has continued to maintain that agriculture sector will be protected. Senior Executive Editor Abhishek Kapoor joins us on the phone line from Abhishek. Well, we understand, as far as our sources are concerned, that there is a stalemate on the Indo-US trade talk, and agriculture, auto, steel and aluminium sectors are the ones where somewhere this deal could get stuck.
Well, you see, we have been informing our viewers about the painstaking talks going on between two sides, clause by clause, sector by sector, and the fact that the team of Commerce Ministry and its key negotiator, Rajesh Agrawal, who's a special secretary in the ministry, has returned from the United States just a couple of hours back as we speak to New Delhi, is sort of an indication that maybe there is a stalemate. Now, we have been talking about American aggressive push, for example, Rakshita, on genetically modified crops, India to give access to American soybean and maize, for example, among other things. American push for getting more of apple and apricot and almond exports into India. Some of them are low-hanging fruits, some are difficult, particularly the genetically modified crop issue. Then there are tariff issues in the auto sector domain. The fact that the United States has unilaterally imposed duties as high as 50% on steel and aluminium sector, which is sort of an equalizer in terms of India's exports to the United States. So essentially taken together, if you look at all these developments, both return for the team of negotiators and the statement made by Piyush Goyal, which we just heard the Commerce Minister saying that we are not going to go follow any deadlines because the deadline obviously is put by President Donald Trump and it's of course not specific to India. The July 9 deadline is for the rest of the world also, but those deadlines cannot be met just because those deadlines have to be met because these tariff duties and guarding India's interest, guarding the interest of Indian farmers, that's also a significant aspect of any and every trade negotiation. So I think if you club the two developments together, Rakshita, that the information we have broken about the trade negotiating team returning back to New Delhi from Washington, D.C. after having spent more than a week. In fact, they were to return on the 1st of July, but or 30th of June, in fact, and they had extended their stay, hoping that some sort of agreements and understandings would be reached. But obviously that seems not to have happened, and despite the extension of their stay, they are back. And with the statement that has been made by Commerce Minister Rakshita, it is clear that what was expected to be a mini trade deal to be announced possibly on July 4, which is an important day for the United States, and they are looking at making some similar announcements on their Independence Day with other countries. But obviously it seems that in the case of India, we might have to wait for a while. It can still meet the July 9 deadline for the Americans, but for India, I think the Commerce Minister making it amply clear that our concerns have to be addressed, be it a mini deal or a full deal, irrespective. Each clause and sector, they have the conditions and the concerns that we have to be met. Otherwise, of course, we can wait and full negotiations can go on, as seems to be the intent that comes out of the statement as of now.
Absolutely. In fact, we have to understand that, how, Trump has been arm twisting countries, has also putting pressure on several countries with deadlines, which India has dug its heels and says that we are not coming under any pressure. And, the case in point is also how we continue to protect our agriculture sector. Agriculture and dairy are the two important points here, and how India continues to protect the agriculture sector. And if we talk about going to detail, Abhishek, if you could explain to our viewers how India can actually not negotiate on that front, because we see that, the scales are actually tilted on, US, on US favor, because we've seen that there are a lot of subsidies given in US as far as the agriculture sector is concerned, as opposed to what Trump always harps on, saying that he wants a level playing field. It's not going to be a level playing field if India negotiates on agriculture, dairy sector.
Well, absolutely. Agriculture is one, dairy is another. So when it comes to agriculture, the issue of subsidies is huge, in billions of dollars. American farmers, and remember, American farmers typically are huge, big farmers. They are not small and marginal farmers like India. So obviously, Indian farmers need protection. The trade deal cannot expose them. Any trade deal, for that matter, cannot expose them to the kind of massive production. In the sense that what United States has is a typical surplus economy system, and that surplus economy system cannot be imposed on small and marginal farmers of India. In fact, that's been India's position from the time of World Trade Organization negotiations, and even before that, going back to the GATT and earlier trade negotiations that used to happen, Rakshita. Coming to dairy, of course, in the dairy sector also, while India has robust performance, being the biggest dairy producer in the world in terms of milk production, but still in terms of processing, the Americans perhaps, and also in terms of per capita availability, they have again a surplus and glut economy, which of course can go against India. So on those issues also, significant talks going on, which means trade deal not happening anytime soon.
Right. Abhishek Kapoor, thanks so much for joining us with those details and insights, and of course the inside scoop on the India-US trade talk. All right, it was time for a short break, but don't go anywhere. We will be right back with more news and updates.
सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला। जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप।
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
Future wars will be conducted based upon intelligence input gathered from enemy's territory. Suppose there is a war with Pakistan or China or even Indian Ocean region, then we have to know what exactly Pakistan is doing in depth, what they are doing towards their military assets, which are closer to Afghanistan border, closer to Iran border. Similarly, in Tibet, in case there is a skirmish with China, we would like to know what is PLA doing in Tibet or even in depth in China. Similarly, in case there is a war, Pakistan Navy or PLA Navy may operate from Indian Ocean region to cause damage to our coastal installations, both military as well as civilian. So we would like to know well in advance what they are up to. These kind of intelligence gathering activities were on earlier also, but they were not very organized on military scale. You see, earlier we had some satellites which ISRO had launched. We had cartograph series of satellites. We had reset set of satellites which were.
Hi, this is Chef Ranveer Brar. Guarantee you brilliance on behalf of IIHM.
MDH की देगी मिर्च,
देगी मिर्च का तड़का, अंग अंग फड़का।
MDH की देगी मिर्च।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे, केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल, ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े, क्या निराला MDH मसाला।
I don't know. I think we'll have to take a look. We might have to put Doge on Elon. You know what Doge is? Doge is the monster that might have to go back and eat Elon. Wouldn't that be terrible? He gets a lot of subsidies, Peter.
His rocket company is the only reason we can now send American astronauts into space. Take over, Elon.
But Elon's very upset that the EV mandate is going to be terminated. And you know what? When you look at it, not everybody wants an electric car. I don't want an electric car. I want to have maybe gasoline, maybe electric, maybe a hybrid, maybe someday a hydrogen. If you have a hydrogen car, it has one problem. It blows up, So I'm going to give that one to Peter. I'm going to let Peter test it out.
This is not the end of Doge, but really the beginning.
Pakistan to play in India after Sports Ministry nod. Hockey diplomacy faces nationalist firestorm. Does Pakistan deserve to play on Indian soil again? Debating tonight at 8 p.m.
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
you for joining us on This Is Exclusive. Ladies and gentlemen, just before coming to the studios, we had planned 3 exclusives, but there is a change of plan, a big breaking news development. We were expecting a mini trade deal. Instead, we hear that the trade deal between India and the US could be delayed. We have more than that coming up in the next few minutes. Here are the headlines. Nation above event across India. There is anger over even the thought of getting the Pakistan hockey team on our soil. Hockey Federation is confused. First says there is a go-ahead from the government, then says there is no clarity from the government. The onus is completely on the government, but the government itself is on record just silent. Another video from Bangladesh emerging, proving how Hindus are being selectively targeted by radicals. He addressed Bharat, he spoke to the Prime Minister, and then he interacted with students. Those lucky few who interacted with Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla, joining us live on the show this evening. And on top of This Is Exclusive, ladies and gentlemen, we had some breaking news input in the last 24 hours that we could have expected a mini trade deal with America. Trump, of course, is looking for headlines. He just announced a trade deal with Vietnam, and he's been talking about a possible trade deal with India. But I have breaking news on the show this evening that there could be a possible delay in the trade deal. That's an exclusive input here on Republic TV, shared by Abhishek Kapoor, our senior executive editor, joining us with the details. He broke the details last night when there was an indication that there could be a breakthrough, perhaps a mini breakthrough, that some sort of an announcement could have been made last night. But now the big update coming in, with the Indian delegation returning from America, with trade negotiators returning to Delhi after a week in Washington, D.C. The team led by Rajesh Agrawal, the Special Secretary in the Commerce Ministry, has returned, and we are hearing from our top sources that there is a stalemate on agriculture, there is a stalemate on auto sector, there is a stalemate in steel and aluminium sectors, and that is where there seems to be some hard bargaining on by India. Pranav is live with me. Pranav, all of these are indicators that perhaps there is a delay, and the delay is looking inevitable. In fact, last night we had details that possibly, the trade deal could have been announced today, or mini trade deal at least, some sort of understanding, some indication of which direction we are going in. We were hoping for a formal announcement. Instead, we are hearing that there is a deadlock on several sectors.
Yes, Niranjan. In fact, the trade deal was supposed to conclude. We'd heard very specifically that before 9th of July, the trade deal was supposed to get concluded. And, there was a mini trade deal that was supposed to be signed, and a bigger, a larger deal was supposed to be signed later this year when Donald Trump comes for the Quad. But as of now, what we're hearing is that there is a deadlock. The deadlock is primarily around agriculture sector, where US wants more access to India's agriculture sector, but then India is not budging from its stand, because agriculture is extremely important for job creation and the larger good of the Indian economy.
Yeah. Now on the sectors, right? On steel, aluminium, in some of these sectors, America has always played hardball. And in fact, very interestingly, you had Piyush Goyal, the Commerce Minister, a few minutes back, saying to the media that we will sign a deal when there is a good deal. So obviously, India is also playing hardball with America. Many years back, and I can tell you, Pranav, when we covered the Prime Minister's visit to the US, I think it was 2019, even then the FTA was a point of discussion. 5 years on, we are still talking about a deal, which shows that even India is not willing to give in.
Absolutely, absolutely, Niranjan. In fact, if you remember, initially when the talks began, India wanted a zero trade on some of the products such as pharmaceuticals, auto sector, and that's where US did not budge. And now we are seeing a new India which is saying no to certain things. This is exactly the same stand that India had taken when it came to agricultural products with the EU and Australia. So we have a precedent in that way, and it shows that we are not budging from what exactly New Delhi wants right now.
Thank you for that, Pranav. I also have Abhishek Kapoor, who broke that story, joining us live right now. So I'll quickly get in a word from Abhishek as well. Abhishek, what's going on? Because we know that many in America have been campaigning against India. Trump himself, he's completely confused. He says one thing today, another tomorrow. What is the real delay? What is holding it back, Abhishek?
Well, you see, going by Trump, Niranjan, the United States has already signed a trade deal with China at least twice in the last month. And yet we have no details. So that apart, I think if you read between the lines of the developments that have taken place, if you read the lips of Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal and the fact that India's team of negotiators led by Chief Negotiator Rajesh Agrawal has just returned from Washington, D.C. after delaying their return, after extending their return. They were supposed to come back by June 30th, but they have come today just a couple of hours back is what I am told. And that really gives you an idea of the kind of intense negotiations that are going on, and that maybe there is a stalemate, which means that the possibility of meeting the July 9 deadline, which is of course an American deadline, seems difficult if not remote. So while we continue to maintain, Niranjan, based on our conversations with sources in the Commerce Ministry, that there are talks of a bare bones mini deal, which is going to thrash out details about, general tariffs in terms of what India can give and what the United States can take. But sector-specific stalemate continues, and these are some big ticklish issues. For example, the issue of GM crops, which America is pushing aggressively. The issue of steel and aluminum have massive tariffs already at about 50%, against which India has already approached the World Trade Organization under the disputes redressal mechanism. So I think clubbed together, if you look at all these developments, Niranjan, I think we are looking at a stalemate between India and the United States in the trade deal. Mini deal possible by July 9, but no indication as yet of what would be the contours of it.
Thank you for joining us with those inputs. Abhishek Kapoor breaking that story. Let's move on now. And the next big story, ladies and gentlemen, is from Mumbai. In fact, just coming into our newsrooms right now, some people were celebrating early, thinking the Disha Salyan case is shut and that there's a clean chit. Getting in big breaking news now. A big comment coming in from the government of Maharashtra. A minister in the Maharashtra government has just confirmed, saying that the Disha Salyan case is not closed. There is a temporary report. He's saying that it's a temporary report, and no one has been given a clean chit in the Disha Salyan case. Saying that until the final report is submitted, there is no question of giving anybody a clean chit. The matter can be discussed further. Once the final report is out, investigation is ongoing. So there were headlines across some sections of the media saying that the Disha Salyan case is shut. Everyone's got a clean chit. It appears to be fake news. I have the minister's bite. Can I please play the soundbite out of Shambhuraj Desai, the Maharashtra minister?
दिशा सालियान का रिपोर्ट फाइनल नहीं है. अभी गृह राज्य मंत्री से मेरी बात हुई है. वो इंटरिम फाइंडिंग्स है. फाइनल फाइंडिंग्स अभी तक आए नहीं है. और जो इंटरिम भी अगर फाइंडिंग्स दिए, उसमें किसी को भी क्लीन चिट नहीं दी गई है. ऐसा ये जब तक फाइनल रिपोर्ट नहीं आता है, तब तक किसी को क्लीन चिट देने का कोई सवाल नहीं खड़ा रहता. जब फाइनल रिपोर्ट आएगा तब इसके बारे में बात. इन्वेस्टिगेशन ऑनगोइंग है.
All right, that was a big breaking news update on the show. We quickly wanted to get you that. But the biggest talking point across India, on the 22nd of April, Pakistan sent terrorists to Pahalgam and killed 26 Indians. Why should we, in just a few weeks since the Pahalgam terror attack, welcome the Pakistani hockey team, who, by the way, have taken sides and are abusing India? Why should we welcome them and let them play on our soil? There is anger across India. I have a breaking news update that there is a view, And I don't know who these people are in the sports ministry who are worried about a charter. Getting in breaking news now that there is a view within the sports ministry that they will face consequences about the Olympic charter mandate. Some in the sports ministry, even after Pahalgam, even after the war with Pakistan, worried about the Olympic charter, stating that every individual must have access to practice of sport without discrimination of any kind. For God's sake, this is what some in the sports ministry are saying that they are worried about, that there could be adverse implications for India. There is complete confusion in some sections of the government. This is the breaking news update that some are worried about a charter. I want to go across to Soumya. Soumya, there is so much anger and people are asking what is wrong with us as a nation. Why are we still worried about a charter?
Yes, well, see, there's a nationwide outrage and the debate has intensified on this. However, the sources within the sports ministry, and now not just the sports ministry, the Sports Authority of India, the sources within the Sports Authority of India as well, have gone on to citing the Olympics Charter. Two things within the Olympics Charter, one being the Olympics Charter mandate and the other being the non-discrimination principle under the Olympics Charter that prohibits discrimination on the basis of nationality and ensures that all qualified athletes get to compete in an international competition. And if any country decides to not abide by that, they will face isolation and also lose the hosting rights on international platforms. So this is what the sources within the sports ministry and now also the Sports Authority of India are quoting. They're quoting this reason to giving a green light to the Pakistani team to travel to India to participate and be a part of the Asia Cup 2025. So now remember, an important point to note here is that any team that participates in the Asia Cup and goes on to win the Asia Cup, they ultimately qualify for the World Cup, which is also slated to take place next year in 2026. So these are the developments that we are picking up with regards to why the sports ministry thought that they want to go ahead with giving its green light to Pakistani team to travel and participate in the Asia Cup.
Stay with me. You know what is even more surprising is the stand taken by Hockey India, and that's my next breaking news update. There is complete confusion within the Hockey India body as well. Now, there are some in the Hockey India Federation who are saying that the onus is on the government. Some are saying it's on the government. Some are saying waiting to hear from the government, and there are others who say there is no clarity. So there are some in Hockey India who are saying that we are waiting to hear from the government. There are some who are saying that the government has allowed it, and there are some who are saying there is still no clarity. So we don't know which version of Hockey India to believe, but here is Dilip Tirki. Here's what Dilip Tirki said while speaking to Republic earlier today. This is an exclusive input. He spoke to us. Here's what he said.
अब तक हमारे पास हॉकी इंडिया के पास मिनिस्ट्री की ओर से, गवर्नमेंट की ओर से ऑफिशियली कम्युनिकेशन कुछ आया नहीं है, अब तक मिला नहीं है। आप लोगों के जरिए, मीडिया के जरिए हमें सुनने को मिल रहा है।
सो मिस्टर तिर्की, क्या आप हॉकी फेडरेशन क्या मिनिस्ट्री से ये क्वेश्चन उठाएगा कि क्यों अलाउ किया जा रहा है पाकिस्तानी टीम को, और वो भी जो पहलगाम टेरर अटैक के बाद जब हमने सारे टाइज अभी बंद कर दिए हैं, तो क्या ये क्वेश्चन नहीं उठ रहा है? क्योंकि ये लोगों के बीच में भी यही सेंटिमेंट्स है कि क्यों अलाउ किया जा रहा है इस टाइम पे।
हॉकी इंडिया हमेशा हम ये कहते आ रहे हैं कि गवर्नमेंट के डिसीजन जैसा कहेंगे, जैसा आप ऑर्डर देंगे, उसी के मुताबिक हम चलेंगे। आज भी हमारे स्टैंड वही रहे, जिस हिसाब से गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया हमें फिर डायरेक्शन देंगे उस हिसाब से हम चलेंगे।
तो कब तक एक्सपेक्टेड है कि एक फाइनल कंफर्मेशन इंडियन हॉकी फेडरेशन को मिल जाए फ्रॉम स्पोर्ट्स मिनिस्ट्री कि पाकिस्तानी टीम ट्रैवल कर रही है कि नहीं इंडिया में?
देखिए, अभी ये कहना मुश्किल है। जैसे मैंने कहा कि आपके जरिए हमें मालूम पड़ा है, सुनने को मिल रहा है। जैसे ऐसे कुछ डिसीजन लिया है तो मिनिस्ट्री हमें बताएंगे, और लेकिन हम काम स्टार्ट कर दिए हैं, जारी रखे हैं कि राजगिरी एक अपकमिंग हॉकी वेन्यू बनने जा रहा है, और एशिया कप भी काफ़ी इम्पोर्टेंट टूर्नामेंट है हॉकी की दृष्टि से, एशियन हॉकी की दृष्टि से, और मैंडेटेड है वर्ल्ड कप क्वालिफिकेशन। और जो भी चैंपियन होते हैं इस टूर्नामेंट में, एशिया कप में, वो डायरेक्ट क्वालिफाई करते हैं वर्ल्ड कप के लिए। उसके हिसाब से काफ़ी इम्पोर्टेंट चैंपियनशिप रहा है। लेकिन देखिए फाइनल अभी भी हम लोग वेट कर रहे हैं मिनिस्ट्री के ओर से क्लियरेंस के लिए, और जैसे हमें क्लियरेंस मिल जाती है हम उस हिसाब से काम और आगे बढ़ाएंगे।
Okay. And moving on to a very, very warm story that we wanted to bring to you on this exclusive. Students from different parts of India had a chance to interact live with Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla, who is in space and at the International Space Station. Now, this interaction took place on the 4th of July through amateur radio on the ISS program in collaboration with the UR Rao Satellite Center in Bengaluru. We have some of them joining us, some of them who had the opportunity to speak and interact with Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla joining us on the show. I have Shrot Garg, who's a student of grade 12 of City Montessori School, Gomti Nagar, Lucknow. And I also have Aradhya Pandey, who's a class 11 student who also had the opportunity to interact with Group Captain Shukla joining us live. Hi Shrot, hi Aradhya, can you hear me?
Yes sir, you're audible.
Okay, so who wants to take that first? Shrot, you want to take that first? So why don't you tell us, how excited were you interacting with Group Captain Shukla?
Oh, I was excited. I mean, I can't describe it. It was so fun. And I mean, think about it. You're on the Earth and he's 400 kilometers above you. And like, you know, that psychology, it's so cool. And it was so fun.
And for how long did this interaction go on between all of you and Group Captain Shukla?
I think it lasted for about 20 minutes because the ISS is moving really fast. So you would lose signal really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and tell us a little bit, I mean, you're live on TV and a lot of people are watching you, listening into what you're saying. How was this interaction? Aradhya, you want to take that? How was the interaction? What did you talk to him about?
So like it was actually really overwhelming, as Shub told us. So it was really overwhelming because such great people right in front of your eyes, and they were just so humble to be over there. Like to be over there to take some time out of their schedule. So it was really overwhelming.
Okay. So, I mean, I, as a journalist, I can ask you what questions did you ask him? I mean, if I were to interact with Group Captain Shukla, I'd have so many questions. So what were some of the questions that all of you had and what kind of responses did you get? Aradhya, you want to take that and then I'll put the same question to Shrot.
So actually there were two moderators over there, some ISRO officials, which were asking questions on our behalf because there were some strict regulations from the Axiom 4 mission team. So those people were asking the questions on our behalf and we could hear the answers.
Yeah. And what was the mood like? He's been so excited each time he speaks. You know, from his first message and then his interaction with the Prime Minister. He's very humble. He's very humble. And what did he say? What did you hear him say? What was his message?
Yes, sir. So first of all, his motto, his logo, Namaskar from space. So that was the first line he said, Namaskar from space. And then he answered all the questions very humbly. He did a 360-degree flip, so we could see exactly how the zero gravity feels like.
Fantastic. Shrot, and all of this was live? All of this, you could see him? You could visually see him, Shrot?
Yeah,
Yes,
we
sir.
could. He was doing everything. He was answering to the questions, responding. Everything was like live.
Yeah, and how many more days is he going to be there on the International Space Station?
So the total trip
12
was
days.
for 14 days.
Yeah, total is 14, but he's almost, a little more than a week in. So he's got a few more days. So did he tell you a little bit about the experiment? Shrot, you can take that. Did he tell you anything about the experiments that they are conducting in space?
He told us that they were related to basically effects of microgravity on cells and physics-related experiments.
Okay, yeah. And did you get a chance to interact with any other astronaut, or was it just Group Captain Shukla?
We did. There was another astronaut. He was part of the Gaganyaan mission, and his name was Angad Pratap.
Right.
So basically, after the interaction ended with Shubhanshu Shukla,
Yeah.
we were able to talk to Angad Pratap, and he was able to take up our questions. Like, we would raise our hands, and he would like respond to it with like great detail as well. So
Yeah.
it was like mini Shubhanshu Shukla, sir.
Fantastic, fantastic. And Aradhya, my last question is to you. What was his message to all students? I'm sure all of you are very inspired just seeing him, right? It's after 41 years that India has an astronaut in space. What did he have to tell all of you?
So his first message was that nothing is out of reach, nothing is invincible, and everything is within reach. So he told us that he was there, so we could also be there. And the moment he said this line that we could also be there, I felt like, oh, you're talking to me.
Fantastic.
So his message was that nothing is invincible.
Superb, superb. And where are all of you? I mean, my last question to you, Shrot, you can take that. Which city are you joining us from, Shrot?
I'm in Lucknow.
Lucknow. And where are you, Aradhya?
So Lucknow, same.
Lucknow. Lucky you, lucky you. Lucknow must be feeling very, very lucky today to have spoken to Group Captain Shukla. Superb. Thank you for joining us on This Is Exclusive. You lucky boys got a chance to speak to Group Captain Shukla. It's what you genuinely call an exclusive, isn't it, ladies and gentlemen? We've just gotten a video, and I'm leaving you with this video. This is a video that's coming off the One High container, which is still ablaze. We broke that story earlier today. We felt that the fire had doused, but the container has been burning for over a month. So there are many questions being raised. This is a video, by the way, that was recorded at 6:33 p.m. So breaking the story, keeping you way ahead on that story, leaving you with raw footage of the firefighting operations that are on about 100 nautical miles off the coast of Kerala. Thanks for watching.
Co-powered by Century Ply Club Prime. रहो बेफिक्र।
पैसा लगाना है तो सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम पे लगाओ। डूबेगा नहीं, जलेगा भी नहीं, कोई खा नहीं जाएगा, धोखा नहीं देगा, ऊपर नीचे भी नहीं होगा, सेफ रहेगा, सिक्योर्ड भी, मिनिमम 30 साल का रिटर्न देगा। अब इससे बेटर इन्वेस्टमेंट है तो बताओ। सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम, रहो बेफिक्र।
दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर, माँ की मुस्कुराहट और खाने की सुगंध। MDH गरम मसाला,
क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा। इसको घर पे लगाओगे तो शादी का तो पता नहीं, पर घर पक्का नहीं टूटेगा।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
पहाड़ों में एक हाइकिंग स्टिक भी बन सकती है।
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
MDH।
Future wars will be conducted based upon intelligence input gathered from enemy's territory. Suppose there is a war with Pakistan or China or even Indian Ocean region, then we have to know what exactly Pakistan is doing in depth, what they are doing towards their military assets, which are closer to Afghanistan border, closer to Iran border. Similarly, in Tibet, in case there is a skirmish with China, we would like to know what is PLA doing in Tibet, or even in depth in China.